What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Fight Island 6, Brian Ortega versus Chan Sung Jung, and I'm really looking forward to the main event. We have the return of Brian Ortega coming back from over a 2-year layoff, going against someone who's been, very good as of late, the best he's ever looked, and that is the Korean zombie, Chan Sung Jung. Really looking forward to that fight. It's going to be very good. I don't see how in any way it could be boring. Two very exciting fighters there. Other than that, we did lose a fight already. We lost the co-main event, Cyril Gane. So I believe the co-main event now is going to be Jessica Andraj versus Caitlyn Kagan, which could be exciting, I guess. But would have really liked to see that Gane fight played out. But that fight is most likely going to be rescheduled. I heard they're not looking for a replacement for Cyril Gane there. Other than that, the card is pretty solid. Not so much from a name value perspective, but there are a lot of great fights on the card. Thomas Almeida, the return of Thomas Almeida. It's been a while since he's fought as well versus Jonathan Martinez. I think that could be possible fight of the night. It's going to be a really exciting fight, and then just some nice fights scattered out throughout the card. So really looking forward to the card. Really looking forward to make some money. Coming off of a winning week last week. And it was very interesting. It was probably the greatest comeback I have ever witnessed in my, ever since I've started betting. And I started out the night awful. It was an awful night to begin the night. Started out 0-3 on my bets. Nothing was going my way. And then after that, it went 4-0. Was able to get a underdog play on Aliyah Tapora. He was able to go out there and dominate Yusuf Salau. Was able to get a parlay to Gir Ulanbekov and Edson Barbosa. And then the last two plays I had was in the main event, and I needed Corey Sandhagen to win for a winning night there. And he only did not just win, he got the knockout in the second round. And I also played the under 3.5 rounds. And if you guys watched my betting breakdown, if you guys watched my live stream, I was very high on the under 3.5. Whether you liked Marias or whether you like Sandhagen, I really like that under 3.5, especially if you like Marias, because if Marias won, it would be in those first couple rounds, but Sandhagen was the one who got the win in those first couple rounds. So, finishing the night 4-0, was able to have a profitable night on what looked to be, one of the worst cards of my life. So very happy to go out there and have another winning night, make that, I think, 2 or 3 in a row there. So ready to keep the momentum rolling into this card. And I'll be honest, guys, this is not a great card to go all in on. There's a bunch of really juiced favorites that maybe should not be as big of favorites. And this is not a card you want to empty your bankroll into by any means. But there are some spots I like, and we'll definitely talk about it. Make sure you guys follow my Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'll be getting all my bets out there sometime on Saturday. I'm going to do the live stream, as always, after the weigh-ins, which is very, very important because Ali Al-Khazi came in at weigh-ins and looked awful. Definitely took me off of him. And there could be some other things that we see in the weigh-ins as well. And that show is very, very important there. And then also my betting breakdown on Saturday. But yeah, really looking forward to this week. Before we get into the picks, if you guys can leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet, would appreciate that a ton. And just wanted to say thank you guys for 7,000 subscribers. I could not have done it without you guys. Let's keep it going. Let's get to 8,000. So we're going to start with the first fight of the night here. And they've been mixing around the fight order quite a bit. But I believe it's going to be Cyan Nurmagomedov versus Mark Striegel here. And it should be a pretty exciting first fight of the night. And we'll take a look at the line at first. This line seems very, very wide. Nurmagomedov is minus 420 and Striegel is plus 335. And, Nurmagomedov, he is 28 years old, 5'8", 70-inch reach. 13-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Mark Striegel, he is 32 years old, 5'8", 18-2, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And what it comes down to me is, Nurmagomedov, he has shown some pretty solid defensive wrestling, pretty solid takedown defense. I know he's been taken down a couple times in the UFC, I believe 2 or 3 times by Barcelos, and no shame in that at all. It's just I think if Striegel gets it down to the mat, he's a pretty solid wrestler. Pretty solid submission game as well. I think Nurmagomedov could be in some trouble, but I do think he has some pretty solid defensive grappling. He has that really good takedown defense. So I think he'll be fine. It's just Striegel's really dangerous on the mat. He's finished 78% of his fights by submission. But when it's on the feet, it is really not even close. Nurmagomedov is the way better striker. Striegel leaves a lot of openings. He does tend to slow down later in the fights. And if he's not getting those takedowns, he's wasting a lot of energy. And he's going to probably, be very tired in that second, third round. But man, this is It should be a lot closer in my opinion. Like minus 420, like the path to victory for Striegel was there, and that's a possible submission. It's just Nurmagomedov has shown me solid grappling defense. I don't believe he's ever been submitted. Nope, he's never been submitted. He's only lost by decision twice. So I'm going to go with the better striker here. I think it'll primarily play out on the feet. Maybe Striegel gets a takedown, but I'm confident Nurmagomedov is able to, fight off those submission attempts or even work his way up back to the feet. So give me Nurmagomedov to win by decision. He's not much of a finish guy. He's only finished 46% of his fights, 23% by submission, and 23% by knockout. But give me Nurmagomedov to get it done by decision in the first fight of the night. Like I said, minus 420. I think it's an okay parlay piece, but just wish it was a little bit closer than that because there is a path to victory for Striegel there. Next, we got a very exciting fight for as long as it lasts, and that is Maxim Grishin versus Gamrot Antigulov. And man, this is going to be fun, as is, a lot of Antigulov's fights because they all end fairly early. Antigulov, he is 33 years old, 5'11", 70.5-inch reach, 20-7 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Grishin, he is 36 years old, 6'3", 76-inch reach, 38-2 and 2-1 and 2 in his last 5 fights. And I mean, it's a fairly obvious pick here, and I am going with Grishin. He's going to have about a 4-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 5.5-inch reach advantage there. And he had his UFC debut his last fight. He went up to heavyweight, was able to get controlled for pretty much all that fight. But now he's back down to his normal weight class at light heavyweight. And what it comes down to is Antigulov is, the first couple minutes, he's going to get the win or he's going to lose. And that's a very small window. And Grishin is very experienced. He has 42 fights on his record. His takedown defense is solid. His get-up game is very solid. And Antigulov, for him to win, he's going to need to get a finish, a takedown, probably a submission in those first couple minutes. And it's really hard to bank on that. So just taking a look at the line here, Grishin is minus 360, and Antigulov is plus 300, which you can definitely argue that's a little wide because the path to victory for Antigulov is there. It's just, it's a very, very small window. So I guess the odds in a way are warranted, but personally, I'm not going to be putting Grishin in my parlays at minus 360. And I'll tell you guys right now, I'm not going to have a parlay this week. I'm not. Some of these favorites are way too big of favorites here, and Grishin is probably one of them. Because Antigulov, say what you want about him, but he's very dangerous. He's finished 95% of his fights. He went to decision one time in his career. He did win that decision. And, Grishin has been knocked out 3 times. He has been submitted 3 times in his career. And Antigulov's dangerous. So if Antigulov does not get the first round or the first couple minute finish here, he's going to lose, probably get knocked out himself. Grishin does have some solid power there, but give me Grishin to win here by probably a late first round knockout. And something I do want to touch on is the under 1.5. And in a lot of Antigulov's fights, and personally I hit on this the last fight against Craig, and I was on Craig last fight as well, so it was double good because that under 1.5 hit fairly easy, and I was very confident in that bet because I think only 2 times in Antigulov's career that the under 1.5 did not hit. So only 2 times he went past that 1.5 mark. Which is crazy because we have a big sample here. We have 27 fights for Antigulov. So I really like the under 1.5. It's currently minus 125. I've not jumped on it yet, but it is something I'm for sure looking at. Grishin has went to decision in a decent amount of fights, but he has finished 70% of his fights. And like I said, if Antigulov does not get that finish, he gets tired very quick. He gasses out very quick. And of course, Antigulov is live as well to get an early finish. So under 1.5 is probably where I'm going to go in this fight. It's really tough to bet either side here. I don't think there's much value at minus like 360 for Grishin. And it's really hard to lay money on a guy like Antigulov. So Grishin is the pick. I'm going to pick him to win by like a late first round knockout there. Should be a very exciting fight for as long as it lasts though. Next fight, we got Fares Ziam versus Jamie Malarkey. And this should be a really good fight here. Malarkey is 26 years old, 6 foot, 74-inch reach, 12-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Ziam, he is 23 years old, still very, very young. 6'1", 75-inch reach, 10-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds here, there is a lot of love for Jamie Malarkey. I believe he opened up close to a pick him at minus 105. And it's now minus 140 Jamie Malarkey. So there's a lot of love for Jamie Malarkey. And I don't know. I don't really see it. I think people are making the mistake of just looking back at Malarkey's last fight. He fought Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell's awesome. He's great. And Malarkey had a very fun fight with him. Competitive in a way. I mean, Riddell outlanded him like 90-30. But other than that, like, he was able to take Brad Riddell a couple times. Everybody does that. He was actually reversed by Brad Riddell like 2 or 3 times as well. Even Brad Riddell got a takedown on Malarkey, and I just did not like seeing that. And of course, you can look back at Ziam's last fight in the UFC, his only UFC fight against Don Madge, and Madge was able to hold him against the cage for 15 minutes. He took him down like 2 times, but he showed some good things there. Obviously, he was very young in that fight. I think he was like 22 or 21 years old. So he has took, I think it's like a year layoff here for Ziam. We haven't seen him in a while, but I'm assuming he's making those adjustments, still very young. And you have to go back before the UFC debut to see what Ziam is really about. You can't go back and watch his last fight against Don Madge, because this guy, Ziam, his striking is pretty good, very technical. He's very long. He's only going to have a 1-inch reach advantage, but just by the tape, you think it would be a little bit bigger than that. He uses his range really well. And believe it or not, like, this guy goes out there and he's a good wrestler. He gets a bunch of takedowns. He wasn't able to do it in the Don Madge fight, but that was his UFC debut. Like I said, he was like 22 years old in that fight, and we will see those improvements. And, Malarkey is very, very hittable. He absorbed I'll tell you guys right now, he absorbed like 6.07 significant strikes per minute in that Riddell fight. It was an absolute war, and he was very tough. He showed a lot of toughness. I don't like picking fighters based off toughness. I really don't. I think the more upside is with Ziam here, and I am going to go with him. Malarkey is a very, very popular pick here this week. I'm going to go the other way with the underdog in Ziam. There are not many underdogs I like on this card at all. But I am going to go with Ziam to get it done by decision there. I think on the feet, Malarkey's way too hittable. Ziam's pretty solid on the feet, pretty technical. And I think even Ziam can get takedowns. Ziam has showed a very good ground game outside of the UFC. And Malarkey, was taken down by Brad Riddell. He was reversed a couple times by Brad Riddell. I'm not all that confident in Malarkey's top game whatsoever. But give me Ziam to win a probably really close decision. And this is a really close fight. It really is. It can honestly go either way. I'm probably not going to bet it, but I think the value is on Ziam at plus 120. I think this should be lined closer to a pick'em. But give me Ziam to win by a very close decision. Malarkey's very tough. He has been knocked out, I think, once or twice. But other than that, he's very tough. Probably decision here, and probably give me Ziam to get it done. Next, we got a fight that should be interesting here, and that is Jun Young Park versus John Phillips. Park is 29 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach. He is 11-4, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. John Phillips, he is 35 years old, 5'11", 75-inch reach, 22-10 and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We all remember John Phillips getting dominated by Khamzat Chimaev. Really no shame in that, but taking a look at the line here, Young Jun Park is minus 255, and Phillips is plus 215. So decent sized favorite in Park here, and I can kind of see why. Park does land a massive 6.41 significant strikes per minute compared to John Phillips' 2.25, so almost triple the significant strikes landed per minute. Phillips only has a 34% striking accuracy compared to Park's 47%. And Phillips is absorbing like double what he's dishing out at 5.31 absorbed per minute. And, Park does tend to get in these brawls, which would not be in a very good game plan here, but he has shown he had a good takedown. He has a good takedown defense. Takedown game. My bad, I can't talk, but he has shown he had a good takedown game in his last fight. He was able to get a couple takedowns. He does average 3.04 per 15 minutes with a 50% accuracy. And how do you beat John Phillips? You take him down, and it's very easy to take him down. So I think that's what Park needs to do here. Believe it or not, John Phillips has an 11% takedown defense. 11% takedown defense. That probably has to be the worst takedown defense I've ever seen on paper there. But yeah, if Park wants to, just take him down, hold him there. But even on the feet, that's John Phillips' path to victory would be, getting into a brawl. And, Phillips is low volume. He throws really hard though. So if Park doesn't fight smart, he could, lose his fight by knockout, but, that's a very small window there for Phillips to win. He's going to have to land that hard shot, and Park has shown a very good chin. Park has never been knocked out, which does give me confidence in this pick. I'm going to go with Park here to win. I'm going to go by decision. He's not much of a finisher. He's only finished about, 45% of his fights by knockout. Maybe he's able to submit John Phillips, he does have some subs on his record, but I'm going to go decision here for Young Park, and it should be a fairly easy decision to get here if you fight smart. The game plan's written on the wall. Everybody knows what you need to do to beat John Phillips. I'm assuming Park knows what to do. Take him down. It's easy. He's 11% takedown defense, and then work your ground game a little bit. If you do want to stand with Phillips, stay to the outside. Be careful, but Park's going to throw that volume. He's very durable. He should be fine. So give me Young Park to get it done by decision. One of my more confident picks on the card, although John Phillips is a very dangerous guy. I just don't think he's all that good, so Park for me. Next, we got Jillian Robertson versus Poliana Botelho, and Robertson is 25 years old, 5'5", with a 63-inch reach, 8-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Botelho is 31 years old, 5'8", 67-inch reach, 8-2 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. So Botelho is going to have about a 3-inch height advantage. He's going to have about a 4-inch reach advantage, but none of that matters when you're on your back, and that's where I think this fight's going to play out. And I thought at first Botelho could be a live dog here. It's just watching tape, seeing her getting taken down quite easily by Cynthia Calvillo, seeing her getting submitted very easy by Cynthia Calvillo. Just took all that confidence I had in her away. And then going into Robertson tape, I was looking to see, how's her wrestling game, and it was actually very impressive. She has very good takedowns, very good single legs, very good double legs as well. She's able to get it to the mat. She averages 3.3 takedowns per 50 minutes, decent amount there, and she has a 52% takedown accuracy. So very good numbers there for Jillian Robertson, and it shows on the tape. She's able to get down to the mat, and when she does, she is very good on top, very good ground and pound. She is a savage on the mat. And in her last, get it? Her nickname is the Savage for a reason. But her last 9 fights have all ended inside the distance. 9 in a row. And you don't really see that in women's MMA, but this fight's going to end inside the distance. Botelho has some power herself. And if for some reason Robertson is not able to get the takedown, she's probably getting knocked out. But I do ultimately see Robertson getting a takedown here. I see her getting a fairly easy submission. I mean, Botelho didn't really show much off of her back. She looks not great on the mat, and Robertson just got her black belt in BJJ. So yeah, I think if once this touches the mat, it's going to be over shortly after, whether it's a ground and pound victory from Robertson or whether she does find that sub. So yeah, give me Jillian Robertson to win this fight. First round submission. I'm confident in her wrestling. As long as she doesn't stand on the feet too long with Botelho, I think she'll be fine. And I really liked what I saw in the Courtney Casey fight. And she knew what she needed to do. Don't strike with Courtney Casey. She went out there. She didn't mess around on the feet for long at all. She went out there and got the takedown early in the rounds. Was able to have control for 13 and a half, 14 minutes as long as that fight lasted. She had a ton of top control on Courtney Casey. Ended up getting the submission in the late 3rd round. And I think she gets the submission here as well. So give me Jillian Robertson to win this. Fairly confident in that pick. I know it's women's MMA, but I do think she gets it done. I think her wrestling's there. Her grappling is obviously there. And just not sold on Botelho's ground game at all. Next, we got, 2 guys. Their names are really hard to pronounce, and bear with me here. I'm going to say Gamrot versus Garam Kutateladze. And Gamrot, watching tape on him, this guy looks legit. He's 17-0 for a reason. He is 29 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach. Kutateladze, he is 28 years old, 5'11", 11-2, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. And looking at the line here, Kutateladze is a plus 250 underdog, and Gamrot is a minus 300 favorite here. I forgot to say the Jillian Robertson line, but she is minus 225. Botelho is plus 185. If you do want to bet Robertson inside the distance, I think it's a good bet there. But getting back to the Gamrot fight, yeah, watching tape on him, he's very technical. He picks his shots very well, very accurate. He's not much of a finisher. I believe he's finished only 53% of his wins. 29% by knockout, 24% by submission. Decent takedown game, decent top control as well. And I think he's the better fighter overall by a decent margin here. It's just, Kutateladze is very, very dangerous. He's a very dangerous guy. He's wild. He's a fun fighter. This is going to be a fun fight. The problem is with Kutateladze is he gets hit way too much. He's very hittable. And although Gamrot doesn't have that power, it looks like his shots have some decent pop on him. He has multiple victories with doctor stoppages. He's able to cut guys up pretty good. And I'm going to go with Gamrot here to get the win. But at minus, what is he, like minus 300 and something? I think it could be a little bit too wide because of how dangerous Crute is. And Crute has finished 73% of his fights, 64% by knockout. But from what I've seen with Gamrot, his defense is really good. His striking defense is really good. He's able to, he has a good chin as well. I think he'll be fine. I think he's the much better fighter, and for that reason, I'm going to go with him. Pretty confident in this pick, but it should be a good fight. And Crute is dangerous. He could land something, but I think Gamrot, his striking defense is very good, very technical, the way more technical fighter in this fight here. And I think he should get it done by decision. But it should be a good fight. It should be one of the best fights on the card. I'm really excited to see both of these guys make their UFC debut. I think both of them have some decent upside here. So give me Gamrot to win by decision. Next we got Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez. And this is probably my pick for Fight of the Night. If it's not the main event, it's probably going to be this one. This is going to be a very exciting fight. And Thomas Almeida, he's 29 years old, 5'7", with a 72.5-inch reach, 22-3 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Jonathan Martinez, he is 26 years old, 5'8", 69.5-inch reach, 12-3 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I made some good money off of Jonathan Martinez in his last fight. I had him winning inside the distance against Cyan. I think it was like plus 250, something like that. So got some really good odds on that. But Almeida is coming back from a couple-year layoff here. And this is a really tough fight to call. Taking a look at the line here, and Almeida opened at minus 150. And, right away, money came in on Jonathan Martinez. And I saw that. And this is one of the first fights I looked into. Because, I was thinking, maybe I can come in here and fade Almeida's chin, possibly. The layoff is concerning. And then, Martinez actually became a favorite at one point. But there has been some buyback ever since then. And Almeida is now minus 130. And Martinez is minus 110. I think that's about where the line should be. I think Almeida should be a slight favorite here. And just looking at Martinez, like watching tape on the guy, I know he dominated Frankie Saenz. And Saenz is like 39 years old, I think almost 40 years old, something like that. Obviously he had a big advantage in that fight. And, just going back and watching tape on Martinez, I'm not overly impressed. I think he's making big strides each and every fight. But seeing him get, rocked and dropped by Andrei Sukumtov was not a great look. He actually ended up losing that fight as well. And Sukumtov, we all know he's not a great fighter. And, he was able to hurt Martinez. And Almeida's, he's very dangerous. I think he started out his career like 20-0, 21-0, something crazy like that. He has lost 3 times, but against some pretty solid guys here. And he's very dangerous. I mean, taking that 2-year layoff might have helped his durability a little bit. I mean, you see, times where guys do take a little bit of layoff to help that durability, because Almeida was getting dropped in pretty much, every single fight, it seemed like. Jimmy Rivera was able to drop him a couple times. Not a good look. Someone with the power of Jimmy Rivera doesn't have much power. So that wasn't a good look, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Thomas Almeida. I know there's question marks with everything going on, with the layoff and everything, but I'm going to pick Almeida to win here. Just not completely sold on Martinez yet. I think he has a lot of upside. It's just Almeida is a legit fighter. It's just the layoff. But, checking Almeida's Instagram, he's looking very good. He's looking very good on Instagram. I think he's coming in here ready to go. And it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war. I can see Martinez maybe dropping Almeida, but Almeida has, decent recoverability. And I just think Almeida's going to put it on him. Almeida's actually going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage here as well. So, yeah, give me Almeida to win here. Am I confident in it? Not really because of the layoff, but I do like him in this fight. I see a lot of love for Martinez, especially at that dog money. It is tempting if you do want to fade the layoff of Almeida, if you do want to fade the chin of Almeida, but Martinez was out there getting dropped by Andrei Sukumtov. Not a good look. So give me Almeida to win here. I'm going to say by 3rd round knockout. But for Almeida here, I think it's going to be a war, possible fight of the night. But give me Almeida in this fight here. Next, we got Claudia Silva versus James Krause. Krause is 34 years old, 6'2", 75-inch reach, 27-8, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Claudio Silva is 38 years old, 5'11", 71-inch reach, 14-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. And James Krause is minus 165, and Silva is plus 145. Silva seems to be another popular underdog. I don't know whether it's because there aren't many underdogs on this card and people are searching for a dog, or maybe they think he has a legitimate chance, and I think he does. It's just, it seems like a really tough matchup for Silva. I like Krause here. I like him to get it done. Krause is going to land more output. He's high volume, 4.65 significant strikes landed per minute compared to Silva's 2.8. And on the feet, like, Krause is going to have an extremely large advantage, and that's pretty much why I'm going with him here. It's just I have my concerns about Krause's takedown defense, about 50%, and if Silva is able to get on top of him, I think he could be in some trouble. But Krause is a black belt himself. I know Silva's very, very high level, and Krause has been submitted twice, but the last time Krause was submitted was like in like 2009 and in 2010, so it's been like 10 years since Krause was last submitted. And just have the question marks with Silva, 38 years old. I don't know. I think it should be a close fight. I can understand why people are taking the shot on Claudia Silva here, because he does have a path to victory, and that would be probably a submission. I don't think he has the cardio to really win a decision here. I think Krause is going to have the much better cardio, and when it's on the feet, and I think it should be on the feet for a decent amount of time, it's going to be Krause all day. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Krause here. I don't hate the shot on Silva at plus money, because he is live for that submission. He's very, very good on the mat. He's finished 71% of his fights by submission, 7% by knockout. But I'm going to go with Krause here. I'm going to go with the better striker, BJJ black belt. I think he could, stay safe off the mat, stay safe on the mat. But yeah, it's a tough fight to call. But give me James Krause to win by decision. Silva is very tough. He's never been knocked out. Obviously, he's never been submitted. So give me Krause to win by decision. Should be a very interesting fight. I'm really looking to see how this plays out, because I see a lot of love for Silva. 38 years old. I think it's a tough matchup for him. So give me James Krause to win by decision. All right, next we have Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas Bukauskas versus Jimmy Crute here. Should be a really exciting fight here, as is a lot of Jimmy Crute's fights. Crute is 24 years old, still very young, 6'2", 72.5-inch reach, 11-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Bukauskas is 26 years old, 6'3", 78-inch reach, going to have about a 5.5-inch reach advantage, 11-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So, getting into the odds here, Jimmy Crute is minus 340 and Bukauskas is plus 280. And just watching tape on Bukauskas, he seems like one of those guys who is, losing the fight up until he lands that shot. And I've seen him get taken down multiple times. Like, he gets taken down so many times, so easily by these lower level guys, and he's able to beat these guys because these guys are getting those takedowns, getting some top control, and then gassing out. I've seen like more than 2 fights where these guys are able to get him down very easy, dominate him for a round, and then gas out and get tired. He's able to survive on the mat with those lower level guys. It's just with Jimmy Crute, like, I find it hard to see him surviving on the mat if Crute gets him down. And Crute actually showed some really good wrestling in his last fight. I think got like 8 takedowns in his last fight. He averages 4.63 takedowns per 50 minutes, 81% takedown accuracy. And Bukauskas has a very awful takedown defense. Like, it's really bad. So I find it really hard to pick Bukauskas outside of like Crute gassing out, because Bukauskas does have really good cardio. So if Crute gasses out, he's not able to get Bukauskas out of there. Maybe Bukauskas can get a late finish, but how likely is that? Give me Jimmy Crute here all day. I mean, he's one of my most confident picks on the whole card. I think he's going to get the takedowns easy, and he's I believe he's a black belt in BJJ, very, very good on the mat. I think he's going to come out there and submit Bukauskas here. And Bukauskas has been looking very good. I think he's on a pretty solid win streak, but I think it's going to end here against Crute. Bukauskas has been submitted before. He's been knocked out before as well, and I think Crute's going to come in here and finish him probably in that first round. I think the takedowns are going to come very, very easy, as is, Bukauskas does get taken down a lot, and I think Crute is very, very dangerous on the ground. He's going to submit him in that first round. So Crute for me, it's really hard to pick Bukauskas in this spot, but his last fight, he was able to get a first round finish. Very weird stoppage there where he had the elbows to the head, and that is something I'm worried about here. If he was able to land those elbows to Crute's head, but I think Crute's going to be fine here and gets a takedown easy. So give me Crute here to win by first round submission. And like I said, one of my most confident picks on the whole card. Next fight here, we have Jessica Andrade versus Caitlyn Kagan. I believe it's the co-main event now. Not the best co-main event in the world, but it still should be a good one. I'm really looking forward to this fight, actually. And Jessica Andrade, she's 29 years old. She's 5'1", 62-inch reach, 20-8 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Caitlyn Kagan, she is 31 years old. She is 5'9" with a 66-inch reach, so she's going to have an 8-inch height advantage. She's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. She is 14-3 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Looking at the odds here, Andraj opened up -120. She is now -145. I think I saw her at like -150 at some point. Kagan is +125. Yeah, and this is I think it's a close fight in a way, but I really like Andraj in this fight. And I think it seems like it's almost too good to be true at -145 here. And of course, we got to talk about the physical advantages for Kagan. 8-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. She's going to be much bigger in there. And Andraj is someone who has fought at 135 before, and she's coming up here to 125. And man, I think Andraj can easily get takedowns. We've seen Kagan taken down a ton of times. She has a 50% takedown defense, and Andraj is extremely strong. She averages 3.02 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 57% takedown accuracy. And on top, I do think she can get some ground and pound in there. Don't think she's going to get a submission or nothing like that, but I think she can definitely do some damage on Kagan. The way Andraj loses this fight is standing at range with Kagan for 15 minutes, letting Kagan dictate the pace, because Kagan does throw a ton of strikes. She throws a ton of volume. It's just she doesn't land a ton of volume. She lands like 35% of her strikes thrown, 35% accuracy, and it's frustrating watching a lot of her fights. Like, she isn't landing anything, but she's making these noises, and the judges think she's landing something, and she's able to get these decision wins in fights where she's actually getting outlanded in, and it's very frustrating. But Andrade, she's not one to really stay at range. She gets on the inside very well, and that's something I was looking for on tape. And she is able to like rush in and get on the inside. I think that's what she's going to need to do here. And she hits very, very hard. She's going to throw the more meaningful strikes. And I do fear that Kagan might throw more, but I'm pretty confident Andrade is going to probably land more, probably land the harder strikes for sure, and then easy win if she comes out here and gets takedowns. If she comes out here and closes the distance and gets Kagan to the mat. But like I said, it seems like it's too good to be true at -145. I think Andrade, this should be an easy fight for her. I know the question marks with her coming up a weight class. I know the physical disadvantages for Andrade, but I really like this matchup for her. Just with the wrestling alone, getting those takedowns or just landing the harder shots. So give me Andrade to win here. I'm going to say by decision. I don't think a finish is off the table, but Kagan is a pretty tough fighter. I think she's been knocked out once. She's never been submitted. I don't see Andrade getting a submission or nothing like that here. So give me Andrade to win by decision. And honestly, it could be close. It could be a split decision. The judges love Kagan. They love her. And I don't know why, but they do. And maybe it's those sounds she makes when she throws, because she makes that sound a ton. She makes that sound more than she's landing strikes. But it just seems like the judges like her. So I don't know. I'm probably going to stay away from this fight from a betting perspective unless more money comes in on Kagan. If I can get Andrade at like -120, -125, I'll be really tempted to take that shot. But probably a fight you are going to want to stay away from. If it does go to decision, it could be very frustrating if the judges do get it wrong. And the judges haven't been all that great so far in Fight Island this time around. So yeah, probably a pass. But my pick is going to be Jessica Andrade by decision here. And then finally we have the main event, and that is Brian Ortega versus Chan Sung Jung, the Korean zombie here. And I am so excited for this fight. Taking a look at the odds here, Chan Sung Jung is -185 and Brian Ortega is +160. And we got to talk about the layoff of Brian Ortega. It's been a while. It's been over 2 years since that fight with Max Holloway, and he absorbed 290 significant strikes. Max Holloway set a record there. He took a ton of damage, a life-changing beating there against Max Holloway. Ended up, losing to a doctor stoppage there. But Brian Ortega is very, very durable. He's a very durable guy. Like I said, he lost that one time by knockout with Dr. Stoppage. Other than that, he's never been knocked out, never been submitted. And, Chan Sung Jung's the same thing. I mean, he's very, very durable. He has been knocked out 3 times. One of those was because he hurt his shoulder in the Aldo fight. Another one of those was a last second Yair Rodriguez spinning back elbow that landed. And then another one of those was like in 2009, 2010. But other than that, he's really durable. And he's just going to be throwing the more output. And watching tape on Ortega, like, you can see it. Like, he gets hit a ton. He has very, very poor striking defense. He absorbs 7.36 significant strikes per minute. And, of course, a lot of that is from the Holloway fight. But he's been outlanded in every single one of his UFC fights besides one fight, which is pretty crazy to think about because he's been winning those fights. So if he's not getting the finish, he's most likely going to lose a lot of those fights. But he's very good on the mat. Very, very good submission game. If this does touch the mat, I'm very concerned for Chan Sung Jung here. It's just the Korean Zombie has shown very good takedown defense. I think he's been taken down. I think the last time he was taken down was by Jose Aldo in like 2014. And since that return, he took like a 2 or 3 year layoff. Since that return, his takedown defense has looked really good, like very, very good. Very hard to take him down. He does have a 77% takedown defense. And so I think it's going to play out on the feet because Ortega doesn't have the wrestling to get it down. He really doesn't. And he doesn't go out there and try to get those takedowns as much as he probably should. He only averages 0.51 takedowns per 15 minutes, only a 16% takedown accuracy. Unless, like, the Korean Zombie slips or gets hurt, I don't really see this touching the ground, so it's probably going to stay striking most of the time. And at that point, you got to favor the Korean Zombie. He's going to be throwing more output. He's going to be landing more technically, more technically sound. He's more, has a better defense as well. And Ortega is way, way too hittable for me. And I like the Korean Zombie to win this fight based on a couple factors. Just being better defensively. Ortega leaving himself open way too much, being way too hittable. And also that layoff. The layoff is another big concern for me. Over 2 year layoff for Brian Ortega. And ultimately that's why I'm picking the Korean Zombie here. I just don't know. Is he going to get I can see him getting a finish. It probably is going to be late in the fight. Ortega is very, very durable. It's just, the Korean Zombie hits very, very hard. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was an early finish, but it's most likely going to be later in the fight. I can even see a decision as well. And Ortega's most likely going to take a lot of damage in this fight. Not as much as Max Holloway dished out. The Korean Zombie's not going to land like 290 significant strikes, but he will be hitting Ortega a lot here. So give me Chan Sung Jung to win. I'm going to say 4th or 5th round stoppage. Something you can look at is the over. I think it's over 2.5 rounds. I think it's plus money right now. Although both guys are very dangerous, both guys are very durable as well. So I think the over 2.5 is going to be a popular play. I think it's fine. But I do like Chan Sung Jung to get it done by a late finish there. But should be a really good fight. Should be a really good fight. Probably either fight of the night or I think the Almeida fight could be fight of the night as well. I think those are the 2 most exciting fights on the card, but give me the Korean Zombie to win this by knockout. And that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys can leave a like on this video, it helps out a ton. Subscribe if you have not yet. If you do want to support me more, get extra content, I am on Patreon. I opened up a betting tier a couple months ago. Had a lot of people sign up, so thank you for that. Whenever I place a bet, I let you guys know. I do a betting breakdown for each bet as well, and then, of course, my betting article and my model with all the stats for every fighter. So if you want to sign up for that, if you guys are interested, the link will be in the description. If not, that's good. I do put all my bets out for free on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can follow me there, DFS_numbers on Twitter and DFS by the numbers on Instagram as well. Look out for my live stream Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And going to be doing my betting breakdown video on Saturday as well. That's about all I got for you guys, and good luck. Should be a really good card. Was able to be profitable last week, the week before, and hopefully make it 4 weeks in a row here. So, yeah, good luck, guys, if you have any bets, and let's get it on Saturday.